Now we do see some webcam league again here. This is from the Danish webcam league called Hyggeliga, and I am taking a spin with this machine head deck that I am a lover of the mid-range decks, and this is one of my first decks to build in the format, and I just love to play it. My opponent here, I had no idea what was going on when he started actually resolving spells, and you'll see me here try to in the blind with therapy just name Phyrexian Dreadnought. I go pretty aggressive here, and he shows me Sabo's Web, Miscalculation, Prohibit Smother, and we see a Tron land and a Powder Keg, and I am so confused right now because I've not seen a black and blue Tron deck. I have seen a blue and white Tron deck, but I had no clue what I was facing here. But at least I knew that it wasn't Dreadnought, or at least I thought it wasn't Dreadnought. But Sabo's Web is played here. My opponent here, doesn't know what he is against either. This is a webcam league where you just run with a deck, and in the top place, before they are started, you have to, as in other webcam leagues, you have to show your deck list. And here he's seeing my main plan is Lavaborn Muse. My main plan here is, of course, discarding stuff, getting some value out of this Muse, and lock my opponent out of the game. The problem being here that blue is a great color at getting back some stuff, or getting more cards in hand, I should say. Super good at drawing, and if he's playing Tron, then he might have Stroke of Genius, and this is difficult for sure for my deck. But still, know that I'm against blue and black, but not much else. I figured it wasn't a lot of colors since he had Tron lands. That is quite prohibiting in the mana department. We see an impulse. We do see an impulse. We saw a lot of impulses in this game here throughout all the games in this match. But he finds the cards he likes. He puts the rest on the bottom, moves his library. Of course, because he has this paper where he draws stuff, information, and life total. And now he has all his 2 colors that I am aware of. And 4 mana in total. Okay, now we see a powder keg. Now we see a powder keg. I would advise you to join some webcam leagues if you do not have any local scene that plays regularly. This is the Danish one. If you have connections to Denmark, if you live in Denmark, if you are a Dane living abroad, and so on, it's a nice way of getting some games, and it's a Swiss-based tournament, so you get a new opponent each week, which is something else compared to more traditional ones, but I would advise you to at least try it out. Or you could just go on MTGO. Here he's playing Limitless Vault. I am telling him, yes, I do know what that card does, and then he proceeds to take the first 5 cards, look at them. He can pay a life to do that with another set of 5 cards, and then keep the 5 cards he chooses on the top in any order, or shuffle the rest. Quite powerful. Not card it doesn't put a card into your hand. So you do go down 1 card in hand, but if you're searching for something powerful, I guess it doesn't really matter. And he found stuff that he likes. And it also shuffles the library, so if he puts something with one of his cards, like we see, what is he doing here? Yeah, we saw the impulse earlier. If he puts something on the bottom that he doesn't really want on the bottom forever, it's a nice way of shuffling your library. Puts a counter on Keg. Is that Tron? Does he have? Yeah, okay, that is Tron. cycle a miscalculation that we knew of. Now a Chromatic Sphere, a way of getting colored mana from your Tron lands, used in the white and blue Tron as well. He sacks it right away for 1 mana more and draws a card. So he is digging for something. I haven't seen a win con yet. Smother. Yeah, Smother doesn't really do anything here because it says that a target must have a mana value of 3 or less, and my Lavaborn Muse is mana value 4, and he puts it back in his hand. Just wanted to show it to me, and yeah, he still have mana for other stuff to do, so he uses Impulse here to look at 4 cards and put 1 in his hand. Surely digging for value, maybe a stroke, maybe a win con of some sort. You do know from the intro that it is a Psychatog deck. Sends the turn over to me. I'm not doing much here, just attacking and hoping for the best. Not really playing anything, it looks like. Deploying a Mishra's Factory. I know that I'm not showing the right one in the bottom here, but I do show the most beautiful one. There is probably, at least in my taste, the winter version of the Antiquities. Here I'm just playing a gold-bordered one because I have some of my other playsets of this factory in other decks. I somehow have a ton of Mishra's Factories, but if you do play Premodern, and old school a little bit, I think it's worth to have just a couple to be able to have decks like combined as 60 or 75 instead of just getting back and forth cards all the time. Now here's an interesting one in Capsize. I haven't seen that in Premodern before. Maybe on TC decks at some time, but haven't seen it played. And not against me either, of course. And he plays the buyback, so he can just start getting my things back in hand and just kill me slowly with returning all of my stuff that he doesn't want on the battlefield. And not looking good at all here. And with his mana situation of yeah, okay, and he plays an egg, so again you have the sphere, chromatic sphere, as one way to generate mana, and then you have the X here. It's a whole cycle, only in allied colors, but he is playing allied colors here, so there's that. And I try to just get something out of this game with a lightning bolt. It's kind of desperate, but I need to try to dwindle down his life total. That is my only way out to beat him before. Now tapping mana. I don't tap mana. Maybe I do. Animate Factory and go for it. But remember that he might have a Smother in hand. And I totally forgot about that. And he can just use the egg to get some black mana. But again, I can force him to use that. He only have 3 colored mana sources other than the egg. And those are tapped. So it's not completely free for him. So he takes 2. And points at the screen with his pencil. And do you have anything more to do? No, okay, I do. I have a flashback therapy. That is desperate. Very desperate. But what will he do about it? And what would you name here? So he draws with the egg. And he prohibits. Okay. Guess we knew about that one as well. Probably the reason why he didn't smother the factory, and now it is gone anyway. And trying to deploy another 3/3 Muse. And he has 3 cards in hand, so he don't take any damage, but what will he do about it? Could he maybe capsize it again? I believe that is his plan. But I have to do something here. This is desperate. And I think at this point I was quite sure where this match was going. But with some blasts in my sideboard, I did have some hope for the second and third game. Okay, we see a Masticore. I was so confused looking back at this because that's not Masticore like the original Masticore art. That's art from something else, and then a Masticore text box and gold border something. I'm not sure if it's a token or what's going on, but maybe the player can comment down below on what is going on with that Masticore. But it is a Masticore. And it's my turn again. So what is the play here? Can I do anything? No. Can't even attack here. So he taps 2 mana for another impulse. I believe that is the third impulse that we see. Impulse is a good card, and especially if there's just 1 or 2 things that you really tend to look for in the mid to late game. It's such a strong card, and if you're careful of when and if you shuffle like with your portents, or well, in his case maybe a fetch land at some point, then it's a heck. I don't know what we're talking about here. Somehow I lost the audio when recording. I'm not sure if I set it up correctly, but the audio is gone from this recording. Whatever he asked, he was okay with the answer, I guess. He's just moving lands around, having 7, 8, 9, 10 mana, that is, and he plays a Psychatog. So now I'm quite sure I am dead here, but could draw out of it if he doesn't have counter magic. I could draw my Terminates, which are one of the reasons Massacre getting me down to 16 here, and that graveyard is huge, and I am, well, if he kills my Lavaborn Muse, I am totally toast. I Duress, so he taps an island, and he taps 2 5 mana for stroke for 2. Not the best. But he shows me lands and a capsize that we knew of. So he is just discarding that capsize here, and well, hoping that I do die. I'm not sure, but he can shoot my creature and then just kill me right away with that Psychatog. He is counting out his yard, and yeah, that's it. I am packing up. This was game 1. If you are playing MTGO or Magic the Gathering online and are using a rental service, or if you want to do that, I have a link in the description for a referral and a coupon code which makes you get 30% off on your next subscription. So consider that, and onto the video. Now for the second game, I mulligan to 6, play a swamp, and I do not have a turn 1 discard spell. Didn't work out for me in the first game though, but we do have a rat. So Ravenous Rats, 2 mana, 1/1, discard a card, or your opponent discards a card. It doesn't look like much at first, but in numbers, and with the ability to use therapy with it later, and the ability to swing, it's a good magic card. Here we paid 2 mana for discard and 1 damage, and we just continue to develop here with a Hypnotic Specter. Hypnotic Specter discarding stuff at random is great against a deck that is like threat thin, if you could call it that. Is that a sentence or some words you can put together? I'm not sure, but if they do not have a lot of threats, then it is nice to get rid of them. And maybe hitting Masticore, maybe hitting Psychatog, that would be huge. I do have my blasts for the Psychatog, and I do have Terminates for Psychatog, so I do have answers. But getting it from a discard is way more nice and way more efficient. Swing for 3 damage. And he needs to discard a card at random here. 6 cards, so you just roll a dice. Boom, and what is that? That's a miscalculation. Doesn't really matter. Well, he kept up a counter here, so maybe it matters. 2 mana. Wretch. Okay, 2 mana for a 2/2. My my side of the playing area here looks like Moneyball Black at this point here. Impulse for my opponent. What can he find? Maybe a Powder Keg would be devastating in this situation here. I do have 2 of my 3 creatures that are 2-drops, so that could be horrific. But what does he find? He finds another land. Those are 2 power plants and 1 mine. Finds a sphere, so not quite Tron yet. And if you are coming over from Modern, maybe you will try to break Tron in this format, but I'm not sure it can be done in the way that Modern has it done. Psychatog is deployed, and with both cards in hand and in the graveyard, it is dangerous. And I need to be able to use. I need to prioritize using my Wretch in my turn, because if you do want to shrink your opponent's graveyard and are playing against Psychatog, please do mind that he can just sack them in response to your ability, so making sure that you remove them in your own turns will hinder him growing his Psychatog by a huge swing. Okay, dice for getting the random discard, and a sphere is discarded. So another mana source is gone. And I did not use my Wretch in my turn, which is kind of stupid. If I wanted to keep up mana for something, then it makes sense. But what in the world can I have in my deck here? My Machine Head deck for 3 mana. That is an instant and deals with a Psychatog. Not much, I would say. Thinking about his options. Swings with Psychatog. So he swings. I should have removed some cards. He just goes aggressive here. And of course, he has to remove his graveyard here because he knows that I will eventually remove it. Yeah, that's a bad play from my side. And now he's just counting what he has in the graveyard. And maybe he's going to discard something. Okay, he had 5 cards, so he could use 2 by 2. So for 2 pops, I'm just showing him a Psychatog that I had laying right next to my playing area. Of course not with sleeves on it, because that would be kind of cheaty to have like a Psychatog on the on my side of the playing field that or maybe not in this color combination, but I'm just saying that he doesn't need to read out his Psychatog because I know what it does, but I like the shell that he has made here. Removing a card in his graveyard, not the best here. I took 3 damage, and I can swing for 5, sorry. 2 2/2s and a 1/1. So what can you do about it? He is grouping his land, so it looks like he has a certain something he could do. Capsize? No. What was that? Okay, 4 cards in his hand. Discarding a card at random. And that's a BEP, a blue elemental blast, which is going straight to the bin here. And I'm not sure if I would have included such a card myself. Yeah, BEP is very narrow against my deck, and I'm not sure it's the right inclusion if it disrupts his engine of finding the correct Tron lands and his big payoff spells. Now we see yet another land being played, and now he has Tron and swings with Psychatog. I cannot block, and then he uses 3 mana, and then a bunch more mana. That's 6, 7, 8, 9 mana for stroke of genius, and I'm at 17, basically 16, because I have played that Phyrexian Arena. And there you see him just counting cards. How many does he have? Each of these cards, that's one, yeah, each of these cards can go towards being exiled from his graveyard, which takes 2, and then he has lethal on board. That is game here. And he shakes my hand, I shake his, and I show him that, man, if I had some red mana, he was toast with that red elemental blast and that Terminate.